Welcome to the F Sharp Podcast, presented by Harmony Wealth, a podcast geared to educate you on all things financial. Co-hosts Tanner Bortnam and Adam Henning discuss various financial topics presented in a consumable and entertaining manner. Tanner is a certified financial planner, JD, and financial expert, while Adam is a marketing professional and small business owner. It's time to harmonize. Sit back and enjoy the episode. Your future self will thank you.
Welcome to the F Sharp Podcast, presented by Harmony Wealth, a podcast geared to educate you on all things financial. I'm Adam Henning. Joined with me, as always, is co-host Tanner Bortnam, certified financial planner, JD, and financial expert. Before we get into this episode, if you're a loyal listener, welcome back to another episode. If this is your first episode, welcome. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave us a review. If you have any suggestions for a future episode, email us at podcast@financiallysharp.com. That is podcast@financiallysharp.com. This is episode 51. And today we're going to cover millionaire mindset. We're going to break this up into two kind of big buckets. Understanding the mindset is the first bucket. And then the second bucket will be some bullet points that focus on financial discipline and management. With that said, Tanner, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Speak.
I'm here. I'm ready.
How's life? The white stuff flew
Good.
today.
Yeah, we don't have that. It's nice. This is when the tables turn and all the episodes about how hot it is down here. It's beautiful, and you guys are now in your frozen tundra, and it's lovely to be here. Soon.
I still have leaves on the trees. But yes, there's snow on Halloween. It's always scary when we get snow before or on Halloween, and that's not the way it should be. But we'll just, as a true Minnesotan, we'll embrace it.
That's right.
It's all about the mindset, Tanner.
It is. It's all about the mindset.
You gotta embrace the suck. And we embrace the suck in Minnesota.
Good lead in.
All right. So, mindset. Talk to us about mindset. I'm not a big mindset person, maybe directly, but indirectly I might be. I just don't I don't know if I really embrace that word as much as other people do, but
well, hey, you got to embrace the suck, right?
It's like a new generation thing or something.
Yeah, well, and just kind of to hit this, it's the millionaire mindset is kind of what we've coined this as, but in reality, if you're a younger person, your goal shouldn't be just to become a millionaire. I kind of want to throw this out there at the beginning. So this mindset is not, and what we're about to talk about is not just, limited to getting to $1 million. It can be beyond that. People that are retired right now, $1 million, depending upon your lifestyle and different things, that may be enough for retirement. Younger people, not a chance. I mean, we need basically everyone will be a millionaire just because of inflation. Things are going to cost more. You need to, that can't be your goal. Just 1 million. I mean, all of us younger people, multi-million is just, you're going to need it because things are going to cost more. But these tools are, kind of what makes up the millionaires now or multimillionaires now. So if we follow some of this and you can, take some of it, learn from it, implement it into your life and your financial plan, it will help you become that millionaire or multimillionaire, down the road as well. So as you teed up, the first thing really is, before you get into anything financial, it's having the right mindset. This needs to not just be something that, it's a New Year's resolution like we all have, or I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to eat healthier and it lasts 30 days. That's not good enough. This is something that has to be ingrained in your mind. It has to be ingrained into your financial plan. It has to be something that you truly are striving for, because it needs to be part of every day. You don't need to necessarily think about it every day, but the decisions that are made every day compound to make this much easier or much more difficult for you. So I would put this more along the lines of having a goal like, I want to be healthier, right? That's not a 1 month thing. That's not a I'm going to go to the gym for 30 days. No, if you're going to be healthier, you need to make, positive choices in terms of exercise and what you eat and those types of things for your life. And this is the same way. This has to be a lifetime goal, and you have to be committed to it, because there are so many things out there right now that can get you off track in terms of, you know, going on too many trips or spending too much on vehicles or buying too much of a home that you can't necessarily afford. I mean, there's a lot of things in the now that fill the our now needs and desires, and you have to, you have to embrace the suck and sometimes give up some of those, so that future version of you is this millionaire, and then you can have a wonderful retirement. So it's a trade-off. Do you want to live happy now, or do you want to live happy for all of your life? So the first part is really having the correct mindset and having that goal of, I want to be a millionaire. Again, young people, really, it should be, I want to be a multi-millionaire, and setting smaller goals of how do you want to achieve that. Let's say a person's goal, I'm just going to make some things up, is they want to be they want to have 4 million, they're a young person, they want to have $4 million in their retirement accounts by the time they retire at 65. Well, if you have 40 years to do that, break it into 10-year segments, break it into 5-year segments, and sit there and kind of piecemeal it together in your financial plan of how you need to get there. And then it's smaller, chunks, just like any big goal. But yeah, that's where it all starts, is the goal setting, but really, really ingraining it. It cannot be, a New Year's resolution type goal, or it just won't work.
Working with folks and millionaires,
Mhm.
do you I mean, obviously they probably had, some of them had failures. One of my biggest things when listening to you, when you said that, all those things about goal setting, and just when it pertains to finances, goal setting should just be like anything else. So if you're new to finances, or take it and tailor it to whatever you're an expert at, as I would say. So setting like, for example, just like a fitness goal. And you set it, short-term goals to make sure you're on track are the most important. I think if you set that one goal of being a millionaire, and that's the only goal you have, I think you're going to fail a lot more
I mean,
than you're going to
probably.
succeed.
Right.
So, do you think what would you say a good smaller section of time would be, to break it down? I mean, you always start with the end goal. I like to do that with everything, just in my stuff. But
Mhm.
so, is it a year? Is it a month? So if you break down that $4 million figure, I need to save X. Let's see if I can do it for just 1 month, and you've hit that goal. And then do you shift it, or what's a good range that's achievable for that first goal? Or am I talking too rudimentary, and we should have established that we are a little bit more disciplined than kind of the scope that I'm talking at?
No, I think it depends, right? Like, if I have a new client coming in, it depends what their age is, of how aggressive these goals need to be, how, proactive we need to be, and how many times we need to check in right away, so to speak. I think 1 year is probably the standard. You may have, for example, if you're doing retirement contributions, we'll break that down monthly, put in X amount per month, and try to hit that. And then, we're checking in on that throughout the year. But, you're not going to see a lot of progress in the first 3 months, right? You'll see more progress in 12 months, and you'll see more progress at the 24 mark. 24-month mark and different things like that. So I think 1 year is probably good. Um, but again, it really just kind of depends for each individual and what their goal is and what they're trying to achieve. But what you alluded to is what we always talk about, right? What is taking a end goal and breaking it down into a bunch of little pieces that I always hammer on what everybody needs? A financial plan, right? Like this is this is your thing, and then work with an expert. Now again, I always admit bias, right? I am biased. I think everyone should work with a financial advisor because I know the value that good financial advising can bring to people. um, but it's just like a health goal, right? You want to be healthier, so you're going to go work out. Well, if you just aren't an expert in working out and you just show up at the gym and start doing stuff, I mean, yeah, you're doing stuff and you will be healthier. It's better than sitting on the couch doing nothing. But if you hire that personal trainer and they have a specific goal for you and or specific workouts for you, depending upon what your goals are, whether it's add muscle, whether it's lose weight, whether it's be able to run longer distance, they will create workouts for you to get you to that goal. And you're going to be more successful and get there quicker by using the help of a professional that is an expert in that area. And that is one of the other parts of this mindset that I want to hit on too. My clients that are millionaires and all millionaires that I find, they know what they're good at. And if they aren't a financial advisor, they hire an expert who is really good at their job. Just like I'm a financial advisor, I don't try to waste my time being a carpenter. If something, or a plumber, right? If something is wrong with my house, I hire that done because they're the experts in it. And I spend my time on the things I'm good at because that's where I make the most money. I'm not
Mhm.
going to make, I'm not going to make, I mean, I would save some money by trying to figure out how to fix my plumbing, but the time it's going to take me to research it, look it up, fix it, assume I fix it correctly and hope so, and let's say I even do get it correct, that amount of time I could have just worked and made more money and still paid someone else to do it, right? And we all have that because we're more efficient at what we're good at. And millionaires know that. They know what they're good at, they know what makes them money, and they hire professionals to do the other things because it takes away from them being good at what they are and what can create more money. Like that's the end of the goal, or the end goal, right? Is part of the input in how you get to becoming a millionaire is the amount of money you're able to generate and create. That's the first step. So the more money you can generate, the higher chance you have of getting there. So definitely work with a professional in financial advising and your health and all of those things, right? If you're not the expert, go work with an expert because the money you're going to, quote unquote, save a little bit here or there, the amount of time that it's going to take for you to kind of become an expert is so much more that you could have just been working your own job and making more money to do it than and just pay someone to do their job. So that is another thing that I see. And then a
Well, I think
third
it's a really
thing.
big thing. I
Oh,
mean,
it is. It
the
absolutely is.
assumption is you have to be good at something. You have to identify that skill in yourself, and you have to go find it and do it. And then, I mean, that kind of
Let
coincides
everybody
with
else.
everything, right? And everything else that
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about. So,
Yeah.
this isn't gonna be an episode of, oh, hey, this is go invest in rental properties or real estate or
No.
whatever. It's gonna be whoever is listening to this. It's whatever your career is. For me, marketing, like that's my profession. How do I grow my capacity to earn in parallel to what I'm doing from a financial plan? So I think that's pretty important to establish as we're going through. And if you made it this far already into the episode, it's so I feel like sometimes people are looking for that easy button and that magical um oh yeah, I want to be a millionaire, so I buy this book. And uh and it really is just it's not gonna do it for you. It doesn't exist.
No.
Um,
No, yeah,
so
no. And just to tailor off that a little bit, none of those things exist. I mean, if you hear about get rich quick schemes, run away because the person getting rich is the person telling you about the get rich quick scheme, not you. None of those things don't exist unless you are the one creating it. Then props. You're creating a pyramid scheme basically, and you're the one at top. Well, then
it's
you'll be the rich one
multi
playing off of everybody
multi-level
else. Yeah,
multi-level marketing. It's
multi-level that creates a
a
pyramid shape,
pyramid.
right? Pyramid.
Yeah,
So, um, so if like though you're exactly right. Those things don't exist, and millionaires know that. People who are wealthy know that. You don't see rich people walking around being like, "Hey, some person hit me up on Facebook or came to my door and basically it's multi-level marketing, this and that, and we signed up." They don't do that. They do what they are good at, which we've already hit on, and they know that it's going to take some time to get there. And
right.
that is okay. They're willing to put in the work, the grind, where that's where I think a lot of people stumble. If you think about it and we're really objective about society, this isn't pinpointing any one person, but about society, we tend to, especially in America, we set goals all the time. And I think something like 75% of the New Year's resolutions are already over by the end of January.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if we can't even make it a month, right? Millionaires don't do that. They know it's a grind and they know that it'll be worth it, and they just keep working at it. And while they're doing that, the next thing I want to hit on is they are willing to take risk. That is
That's the
the other
biggest
part.
thing.
Exactly.
Reviewing this list, yeah, continue. I'll
Yeah.
stop interrupting.
No, you're all right. Like, to become a millionaire, you need to let's use a baseball analogy, right? You don't need to hit home runs all the time, but you do need to hit the ball. And if you don't take a swing, you won't hit the ball. They're willing to take calculated risks. And, for people who are just really risk averse, that's hard. And I get that, but you got to find that in yourself to work through that, because you will not become wealthy by putting your money
Being
in
safe.
no
Yeah.
risk CDs. You have to take some risk. And then to be able to take some risk, you have to be able to stomach and just stick your head in the sand, so to speak, when the markets aren't very good. The last couple of years, they haven't been terrible, but they have not been good either. And it is a war of attrition, right? 90% of investing is staying invested, is putting that money in there and staying invested and not taking it out when your gut says, I can't take this anymore, because that is when it's the worst time to take the money out. So people who have, millionaires, multimillionaires, they know that. They put the money in there knowing it's a long-term play. They take calculated risk, not stupid risk, calculated risk. So you have to take some, but again, intelligent risks. And they set up, they set themselves up for success by taking some swings, because you have to. And one of those swings will hit. You take enough of them, one of them will hit, or at least one of them. And there you go. You just put yourself ahead 5-10 years because you were willing to do that.
I think it's one thing to risk take, but it's also one thing that goes in concert with that is seeing the opportunity, and then taking a bite, digesting it, and then are you taking that risk or not? So if you don't see it, you ain't gonna have the ability to swing.
Yeah. Yep. And that's actually a really good lead into kind of the last part is a lot of my clients, when I talk with them about, like, well, what makes you successful, or what do you think, and how is life? A lot of them talk about how here was my career. My career was in X. I was an engineer, or I was a pilot, or I was, a doctor, or whatever. But they didn't just stop learning once college was over, and they didn't stop. They were always curious. They were always kept, like you said, they always wanted to learn more, because as you learn more, you're not going to necessarily become an expert, but you will know enough to see where an opportunity may be. Whereas if you didn't continue to learn and broaden your scope, that opportunity would go right over your head, because you don't know enough to know that there's an opportunity there. Um, and so, always continue learning, being adaptable, knowing that markets don't go straight up, housing markets don't go straight up, no investment goes straight up, right? So you have to just be able to change and adapt to whatever the circumstance is, and kind of keep pushing through that. And really, kind of the last one, they have an overwhelming sense of confidence. I would not say some have arrogance. I'm sure we know lots of the very, very rich people who we can all name names that we probably don't like, that are arrogant. But arrogance is also confidence, right? And then you have the people who are just truly confident. They know it's going to take a lot of work, but they're going to put in that work, and they will work hard enough to make sure that it succeeds. And is it a guarantee to succeed? No, but if you're willing to have that mindset that I'm going to put in whatever work's necessary to make sure that this is a success, you really crank that percentage of failure down. And that is where a lot of people fail, I would say. A lot of people can want it, a lot of people can have the knowledge to do things, a lot of people can have all of that. It's that it's that confidence and that grit to like we've said, continue going when things get hard, not give up. Have the confidence you're going to, in yourself, that you're going to make this self-fulfilling prophecy almost, like, and that helps you get to that point and making those changes that are necessary, and all of these things. So this is the mindset, everything we've talked about so far. If you want to emulate wealthy people, these are the things that they do and the way that they think kind of generally about money and success and those things. Well, if you want to join them and become a millionaire or multimillionaire or whatever it may be, these are the things you need to instill and start thinking about and try to, replicate, because this is the proven way to get, or again, it's not a guarantee, but you're going to very much increase your chances of success by emulating and kind of copying what they do, right?
I would add delusion onto that as well. Just a small little sliver of some people are just so delusional that they're just so tunnel visioned that they and that allows them to be so persistent and stubborn. So they just, like you said, it kind of ties into the grit and commitment and confidence that they know it and they keep doing it. And then maybe they get lucky and the only reason why they make it is because they've tried for so long. They're so and delusional is kind of like the negative version of, or a version of confidence, or a little side of the negative. But I think a lot of athletes become successful from delusion because they just keep working out or keep grinding, keep
Yeah,
working on their
right,
craft, and then they make it. They hit that threshold where they have a breakthrough, and then they're there.
right.
And a
But it's
person
the
with the
mindset.
same level, yeah, the same level of athletic ability probably quit a couple years ago just because they're like,
Yes.
I'm not. They just didn't have that same level of
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. It is. It is. You have to have the confidence in yourself that you're going to succeed in this goal of becoming a millionaire, and you're going to find a way to do it, because you may lose your job at some point in, there may be layoffs. You may change careers and think you're getting a step up, and it turns out to be a flop. Like, there are going to be roadblocks for every person throughout your life. It is not a smooth road. And so it's the ability to just push through, not to hit that roadblock and stop. It's the ability to find the next road and then keep going, because the goal is still out there. And the athlete one is perfect. I think about football, right? Especially
Oh, so many.
cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Cornerbacks get, you know, I think that's the hardest position probably to play. And they can give up 10 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. But, by golly, in the fourth quarter, if they bat down one pass, you bet they are out there like they just locked the person down the entire game and they don't have a catch. Their confidence is never never shaken. They are just always out there thinking that they're better than the other person, always. And it is a little bit delusional because clearly the stats show that they're not, but it's the mindset you need to have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, great analogy on that. So that's the mindset. I think that's the starting point. If you don't have that, the next things we're going to talk about, they're good to have. You need them, and you'll be somewhat successful, but it won't take you to that next level of true success where you probably really want to get to.
Yes. Second bucket, discipline and the management side.
Yep. The financial discipline. So, we chat about this a lot. We don't need to probably get into a ton of details on some of these, but budgeting and saving, right? You can't become a millionaire if you're spending more money than you make. You have to be able to save, and I would say save a lot. The more you save at the younger age, compound interest. We have episodes on that. Go listen to that. It is your friend. It is the single greatest thing that you can do for yourself in terms of finances is start early and put that money in there as much as you can, and the more the better. And just let it sit there and grow, and just
Mhm.
let it do its thing. But the first step is you have to have the funds to be able to put in there. And so it's budgeting, and it might be cutting some things out or pulling back on certain areas and making, embracing the suck, so to speak. And saying no to certain things, saying no to eating out or to gifts or to a trip or to, whatever it happens to be, a new car. Maybe you push that out a year or two, whatever it may be in your situation. But the goal of becoming a millionaire needs to take priority over all of that. I'm not saying it needs to take priority over your health or over your family, but it needs to be right after that if this is your goal to get there. So, budgeting, saving, time, compound interest, all of that. Debt management. What millionaires do is different. It is thought of different, or they think of debt way differently than the, I hate to say, but like quote unquote average person. What rich people do. And it's not the crap that you hear on TV from certain people who have written books about, oh, I love debt and I blah blah blah, debt this, debt that, because it's a tax write-off. It is a tax write-off, but tax write-offs aren't the end all be all either. They're good. They're an arrow in your quiver, but they're not everything, right? They're an aspect of your financial plan. But how wealthy people view debt is where interest rates are, and then what can they be doing with that money, right? It's always a trade-off of, I have debt at X percent and I have money. Is it better for me to pay off this debt because I don't have any investment that can get a return higher than the interest rate? Or do I let this debt sit there, pay my normal monthly, don't go in the hole, obviously make your payments, but then find an investment that can generate more interest or growth than the debt. And if you can do
Mhm.
that, that's fantastic. Where a lot of people that listen to Dave Ramsey get stuck in the debt is terrible. Debt is very bad. Well, that's a way to stay, in the middle class forever, because if you have a mortgage at 3% and you get an inheritance of $500,000 and you can pay off your house, I would tell you that is financially irresponsible to go put that money on a 3% interest rate. Again, not for everyone, for a lot of people. It's not a recommendation or blanket, but for a lot of people, that would be financially irresponsible, because you should be able to put that money into something a la right now. You could put it into a government treasury and earn more interest on that. And it's fully guaranteed by the United States government than taking that same amount of money and paying off your interest and basically saving 3%. You could go out and get 5% right now in a treasury. You could put it into the markets, let it sit there, and the S&P averages between 8 and 10%. So
Mhm.
that would be a financially wise move, to let the debt sit there and pay it off as slowly as you can, because you got a great rate. So that's how wealthy people, it's never a debt is good or bad. It just is. And it's just an equation between, do I have an investment that's going to outperform the interest rate of this debt? If I don't, sure, pay off the debt. But if you do, then it needs to go to investments. And that's a big difference I see between kind of people that have taken that next step. They don't fear debt. You don't need to be up to debt in your eye or up in debt up to your eyeballs, but they don't fear it and need to pay it all down, especially when they have really, really good interest rates.
Last little piece of the puzzle: multiple income streams.
Yeah. Yep. Not necessarily a requirement, but I would say a lot of people who kind of take that next step do have multiple income streams, because you never know when one thing is, one area of the markets, whether, let's say you have a rental property, you're working plus you have a rental property. Well, if housing market goes down, the value of that house goes down, but you still get, income from renting it. Or maybe the markets go down, but your house price goes up or whatever. It's diversification, and it's diversifying your income as well. Now, I have other clients that have never done that and been wildly successful by just having investments, right? And I know other people who don't have a lot of investments and they love real estate. There's not necessarily one way to get there. I think it just depends on your situation and really what your comfort level, but then also somewhat expertise, right? If you're a realtor and you can save the 6% realtor fee of buying and selling homes, like, heck yeah, go buy homes, because I can't do that, right? Like, you're already saving 6% over everybody else. So it kind of just depends where you are. Do you have kind of ins to certain things or not? But trying to create, a different income stream. Maybe it's dividend stocks, right? That creates dividends and income that gets kicked out, and that's another income stream. So just the wealthy people usually have more than just their salary, and a lot of them are business owners. A lot of them are business owners. It's a lot of risk, but the reward for being successful usually is pretty good. And I would, from my clients, I have a lot of business owners that are clients and have, done X, Y, or Z business. That part doesn't really matter. They just found what they were good at, started a business, and just did what they were good at, and then were able to sell the business, in retirement and do really well for themselves. So that's another thing that people can look at. Younger people, I get it. That's really hard because you're young, so it might not be feasible to go buy a rental property right now to get that second income stream. But hey, have that as a goal. Have that as a 5 or 10 year goal that you want to get that. So adding those would be a good option as well.
Very good, sir. To recap, we built these into two main buckets: understanding the mindset, and then financial discipline and management. A lot of it is the approach, your approach to money, goal setting, the ability to see opportunity, take risks, lifelong learner, confidence. A lot of these are cliches, but the fact about cliches is they're cliches because they're true. So sometimes you got to embrace the cliches. Budgeting, savings, multiple income streams. I think one of our first episodes, we compared multiple income streams to a bar stool or multiple pillars of a chair. And if one gets kicked out, lose a job, AKA, there's other pillars for you to lean on. So the whole thing doesn't come crashing down. So that was just an analogy that we used early on in this podcast series. So, we would really enjoy this to be a multiple income stream for us and, be our full-time job. So I'll segue into that as we wrap up of this episode. So yeah, you just
no shame.
Start a Patreon.
No shame.
Start a Patreon right there, Tanner. And yeah.
It can all go to you. I plan to keep my main job.
I think we're $1 million away from being millionaires from this podcast. So, with that said, we hope this episode has been helpful as always. Thanks for listening and watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, leave us a review. If you have any questions or suggestions, I forgot to ask you if you had anything else to add, Tanner, so you can think about that. You're good?
Yeah, all good.
All right, I'll continue with my spewing of words. Questions or suggestions, shoot us an email at podcast@financiallysharp.com. That is podcast@financiallysharp.com. For Tanner, I'm Adam. We thank you for listening once again. And until you hear us again, stay financially sharp.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. This podcast does not engage in rendering legal, tax, financial, or other professional services. Investment advisory services are offered through Harmony Wealth, a registered investment advisor authorized to do business in states where registered or otherwise exempt from registration. If you have questions pertaining to your specific situation, please contact Harmony Wealth at 602-935-5155 or at harmonywealthaz.com.